But just looking to see if there's anything in particular that you're wanting to get out of the webinar. So just putting that information into the comment box. I'm hopeful that it'll be covered in the presentation, but if not, I can certainly address it at the end. So I'll just give a few moments for you to think about anything that you're looking to get out of the webinar. Someone is hoping to get some free resources or just sort of awareness of free resources that are out there. So that'll definitely be a big focus for today. We'll just continue to monitor that throughout the webinar and just keep track of anything that comes to mind. So feel free to continue to put those ideas in the comment box. We'll just move to the next slide and give you a sense of our overview for today. So first, I'm going to be talking about healthy school communities. I'll dig into our At My Best program and At My Best Play Day, the role that you can play in a school's At My Best Play Day, approaching a school and also understanding what's in it for you, and some suggestions and next steps. I'm also going to be sharing in the comment box a link for a survey that we'd really appreciate you submitting at the end of the webinar, just to support us in continuing to offer these professional development opportunities, and also to follow up with you to see if the information was of value to you, what you did with the information. So I'll just put that link in the chat box, and you can fill that out at the end if you so choose. So moving into healthy school communities and whole child development. I'll just move over to the next slide to give you a picture representation of the healthy school communities model. So the aim, if you're not familiar with the healthy school communities model, or comprehensive school health is what it's called in other contexts. It's a model that's used to optimize student health and educational achievement. So the healthy school communities model, it's a multifaceted approach that includes a focus on activities in and outside of the classroom. So it reaches up to support change at the institutional level down to the classroom to support the delivery of programs that consider the importance of whole child development. So it's creating those inclusive environments to support the health and well-being of that child, and that means their physical health, their emotional health, their mental health, their spiritual health, social health. So it's multifaceted, and it's multi-layered in terms of the different environments where children live, learn, and play. So what they do in the classroom, to what they're doing at home with their parents, to what they're doing in their community more broadly. So I put up a model for you to get a better sense of the characteristics of the model. In the outer circle, you'll see sort of the essential principles of the healthy school communities model. And then you'll see in the inner circle, it mentions some of the core components being teaching and learning, their physical and social environment, evidence that's collected that basically demonstrates what sort of successes they see in the implementation of this model. So what's the research and evaluation on this, the policies that exist, and also the community partnerships and services. So again, sort of bridging that gap between school, home, and community to support the healthy development of the whole child. There's also been a lot of, and continues to be a lot of, research on the comprehensive school health model, or like I said, can also be called healthy school communities. So there's core conditions for the comprehensive school health model to be successfully implemented. It's having students as change agents. It's having school-specific autonomy, so them deciding their readiness of change and also what areas they want to focus on building. It's having administrative support. It's having a champion within that school, someone that really wants to take on this responsibility and sort of lead their team through healthy school communities initiatives. It's having the support of the community. It's evidence, and it's also professional development opportunities for those within the school community. So in recognizing the value of the Healthy School Communities approach, it's been a cornerstone of the work that PHE Canada does, and specifically it's been a focus of the At My Best program since the program started in 2008. So I'll just sort of move to the next slide and dig into that program. So At My Best is really part of that teaching and learning pillar that I mentioned that's part of the Healthy School Communities model, but it's also a powerful resource that's modeled after this approach. So it might act as a catalyst for change, or it might be supportive to what's already happening within a school community. So to give you a sense of what the program is all about, it's a free curriculum-linked resource, and it's designed for teachers that are working with students in kindergarten to grade 6. It's designed to optimize children's physical and emotional development, and it's designed to support teachers in implementing a quality health and physical education program. So the 3 pillars of the program are really emotional well-being, physical activity, and healthy eating. So it really looks at taking a whole child approach in supporting their health and development. And it also uses a social ecological framework to achieve the holistic approach, and that's woven throughout its content. It also involves families, so there's resources and opportunities to extend learning to home in learning experiences that are downloadable on the website, and also to extend learning into school communities. It also sort of embraces that whole school community approach through At My Best Play Day, which is sort of the culminating activity of the kindergarten to grade 3 program. And it's where we're going to spend sort of the bulk of our time in today's webinar. So we'll just move on to the next slide to give you a bit of an overview. So like I said, Playday is often used as a culminating activity in the K-3 program, but it can also be an opportunity to kickstart a school's involvement in the program. It's also meant to reinforce connections between those 3 program pillars that I mentioned. It's an opportunity to build connections with parents and community. And it's also designed to promote the importance of a quality health and physical education program within a school. So we open registration on an annual basis, and we also often offer incentives to sign up with different draw prizes that you know, depending on where you take this, it's an opportunity to let teachers within your school community, teachers that you might have worked with in the past, or school champions about. So I'll dig into that a little bit later. I wanted to first sort of talk about signature playdays on the next slide. It's an opportunity for up to 4 schools to partner with PHE Canada and co-facilitate a play day. So schools have the opportunity, like I said, to register. It's open to any school to receive a set of tools and resources to support them in planning their school's event. And then beyond that, they have the option of applying for a signature play day. And if they're selected, they receive a visit from the At My Best mascot, which is Ray the Star, and she's pictured up on the screen there, as well as PHE Canada. So we support in the delivery of that event. They also receive a nutritious snack and exciting activity from Saputo, as well as a $2,000 grant from PHE Canada and Saputo. And that's given to the school following their event. They have to indicate on the application how they intend to use that grant money, beyond the play day, and it has to align with the At My Best program, so some kind of focus on physical activity, healthy eating, or emotional well-being. So it might be the initiation or continuation of a health initiative or club. It could be a breakfast program. It could be physical activity equipment. So it certainly varies from school to school, and it's a sort of an opportunity for us to respond to their needs and make it context specific. So I wanted to sort of talk about what role you might consider playing in a school's At My Best play day. There's lots of options depending on the amount of time that you might want to dedicate to this or the degree of involvement that you're looking for. So I've divided that into low, medium, and high, sort of based on, again, that time commitment and level of involvement. So for instance, at a low level, you might be a catalyst for a school's involvement. So after we finish this webinar, you might email a teacher you know and say, hey, I found this opportunity. I thought it might be of interest to you. It might be supporting them in their preparation of a signature play day application, where they're asked to describe what they want to use that $2,000 for. When we talk about medium involvement, just on that last slide, they might support in the planning. You might support in the planning and implementation. So you might be responsible for the food and beverage that's provided during the day. Or this year, for instance, we have an opportunity for schools to submit a video in support of their signature Playday application to sort of describe how the school might already embrace the At My Best program, or how the signature Playday and everything that it entails might impact their school community. And finally, at the high level of involvement, it might be you leading or co-leading the planning and implementation of the day. And it might be facilitating an evaluation of the successes and future opportunities that school faces after the fact. So I also just wanted to touch on some suggestions of where do I start in order to go through that process. First of all, it's important to think about who the best person is to approach. So you're wanting to look for people in the school that you might already have a relationship with. Maybe you've worked with them in the past in a practicum. It might also be helpful to look for any sort of key influencers. And it might be important to go with someone you know that already has a relationship with, for instance, the principal or the administrator, to have those types of conversations. They're sort of and I'm sure you are probably already aware, they're sort of the holder of the pen, including what the budget is and what spaces are available, what sort of schedule are they working with overall, or what other competing events and priorities might they have. It might be that the At My Best Playday resources actually complement what they're already doing and might make the process that they register for the Playday to enhance what they're already doing in the planning of their end of year celebration. So you'll want to definitely have either a conversation with them and whoever your, whatever teacher you've decided to approach, or it would be important for that teacher to have that conversation, and I'm sure that they would be well aware that that's an important step. So if you are successful in getting your school community involved, you might suggest an invitation to some other key influencers more broadly in your school community to attend. So maybe it's the mayor that can come in and offer some kind of speech to sort of kick off the day, or it's someone from the Ministry of Education, or perhaps someone at the school board level, or maybe there's media that wants to document a school's end of year celebration. So you also want to think about sort of the key messages that you're trying to deliver that day, and also what role you would want some of those key influencers to play. So are they a special guest for the day? Would they want to speak to you know, the members of the school community to kick off the day? Do they want to offer some closing remarks? So all things to consider when you're thinking about having those conversations to sort of spotlight different things that might be going on at the school, whether it's a celebration of health and physical education programming, or an opportunity to have a conversation with them about some of the challenges and barriers that you're facing. You also might look to support in securing other parents or community volunteers, whether there's older students that can take on some of the responsibilities, or even some of your friends that would be willing to contribute to a school's play day as well. So beyond that, just as you'll see up on the slide now about knowing your audience, once you've decided, okay, I'm going to approach this person about the idea, it's really important to sort of know who you're dealing with, and thinking through, you know, are they already holding an end of year celebration, or is this something brand new to them? What kind of resources do they have available to them in terms of the indoor or outdoor space, the time that's available to them, the budget, and also the human resources. It also might be important to think about, is this a school that already adopts a healthy school community approach, or are they brand new to it? And when you plan to talk to them, and it's important to sort of establish a meeting time, not necessarily just show up, you'll want to have an explanation for why they should participate in an At My Best Play Day. So some of the things to consider that are displayed on that slide up there is, are they already holding an end of year celebration? So Playday resources actually make it easier for them to for the planning process, and can offer them some new activity suggestions. It may be an opportunity to bring together the whole school community and promote connectedness among school community members. Maybe there's other things that come of that. So things like the formation of new clubs or committees or volunteers or parent council members, or more dialogue between parents and teachers about students to support their holistic development. It's also potentially an opportunity to secure some additional resources. So would the grant money be of interest to them? They have the opportunity to win one of 4 wintergreen gift cards, which I'll get into later if they register by June 4th. And they have the chance to qualify for a signature play day, like I mentioned before, and they'd receive a $2,000 grant in support of sort of healthy living initiatives that align with At My Best. So again, just important to think about who you're dealing with and what might be of interest to them so that they see value in the opportunity. So now that I've sort of spoke to how to almost market the resource and their participation in Playday, I wanted to touch on what's the value to you. So the first is an opportunity to build some relationships with schools in your community. This might be valuable for a number of reasons. It could lead to potentially future job opportunities. You might have demonstrated that you have the capacity to teach, but you're eager to get involved and support the school more broadly in this sort of event planning, administration, and leadership roles. Or it might serve as a stronger reference for when you apply for job opportunities elsewhere. So you're really building out those, that sort of leadership, event planning, administration skills that go beyond the classroom. I know that this might have already happened within your practicum, but just new ways and new ideas to continue to build on that skill set. And it's certainly something that can be added into your resume or written about in your cover letter and talked about with future job opportunities. So I wanted to touch on the At My Best Playday supporting resources. So it's all that schools have to do, or that you can do independently, is register for a play day by simply submitting sort of your name, the school that you're working with, and how many students you intend to be using the resources with. And you'll be taken to a page really where you'll be able to download a toolkit with games and activity suggestions. You'll also receive the At My Best Family Passport, which is an opportunity to sort of engage families in the At My Best program, have them complete a series of challenges ahead of their school's play day. There's a certificate of completion template for you or the school that you're working with to use, as well as a long list of supporting documents, which I'll get into in just a moment, that support you in planning this event more fulsomely. And all of these pieces are very much customizable. They're not meant to be that one-size-fits-all model. So sort of take what works and revise and revamp to make it more appropriate for you. So just flip to the next slide. So other ways to use the At My Best Playday resources. So if you've come to this webinar more from the lens of I'm looking for some additional sort of games and activity suggestions that I can use within a recreation program that I work in, or that you're, a camp counselor and you're looking for some additional games and activity suggestions, that's completely fine as well. They can certainly be used in both those contexts. And those supporting resources that I mentioned can be really helpful just in planning school events more broadly. So again, there's lots of things like to-do lists, there's signage templates, There's budgeting templates. There's student and parent volunteer request templates, things that you can consider when you're evaluating the success of the event. So lots of downloadable resources that are easily customizable, depending on how best they suit your needs and your context. I also just wanted to put up a slide that sort of speaks to the value of the Playday resources. We conducted a user survey at the end of 2017 to hear about Playday user experience, to help us sort of look for ways to enhance what we already have. So you'll see that people said that to-do list is very helpful in organizing your Playday. The toolkit has great ideas. Other people see it as an opportunity to engage older students in taking on a more senior leadership role within the school. They often act as sort of team captains that support in younger students rotating between activities, or they might be the facilitators of those activities. They might be handing out the snack. So like this person said, having the oldest of the school in leadership roles enhances the community sense that we want to build. Another person said we loved the downloadable package of suggestions for centers. So it's great that we have lots of positive feedback, and we also have other pieces that we can use to enhance what we already have. And certainly interested again in your feedback. So feel free to submit that in the survey and let us know what we can do better here, and also moving forward how we can enhance the resources that you'll find on the website. So we can just move to our last slide. So just looking to see if I can answer anything else that you'd like to know that I haven't covered. I know I sort of ran through most of it quite quickly. A lot of it is quite easy and self-explanatory, of just going onto the At My Best website. You'll click on the Teachers tab, and there's Playday, where you can access an overview of Playday and Signature Playday, as well as the registration form, which is quite easy to fill out. So I'll just give a couple minutes to see if I can answer any questions. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about the delay. In the meantime, I can see a question came in wanting to know whether Playdays move around. I mean, Playdays, like I said, and just wanting to be clear, Playdays take place across Canada, you know, at no particular, like it's not specific to certain times of year. It typically takes place at the end of the school year. It's used as that culminating activity. When it comes to Signature Playday and PHE Canada partnering with schools across the country, yes, you are right. We do try to move to different locations to give schools an opportunity to receive that grant money, and just be sort of geographically fair as well. It certainly makes a difference, though, if we receive a lot of insight into, how that grant money will be used, or just their interest in the At My Best program, whether they're an existing program user or if they're looking to become a program user, and just wanting them to be excited and engaged in getting involved with the program. So that's sort of my answer to that. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Okay, a question from Brent. How can I convince other teachers to help me? Seems like a bit of work for an already packed timetable. Yeah, I can certainly appreciate that and see it. It can be a barrier. I'd recommend sort of divide and conquer. Certainly important to have that one school champion that's leading the process, but just sort of dividing responsibilities, getting an idea of what people's strengths are in terms of, organization of games. Is it going to work best that everyone is responsible for the facilitation or the logistics around one activity, and with multiple teachers that brings in multiple ideas? Or is it that one person's responsible for physical activity, whereas another person's responsible for the food and beverage piece as well, or one person's responsible for volunteers? Again, I would also recommend trying to take advantage of other members of the school community, whether it's older students or even engaging secondary students, depending on whether there's a secondary school within a school community that would be easily accessible. Having those older students support you. Maybe they're looking to fulfill volunteer hours that could be an extra selling feature for you. And are there, parent councils that you can sort of take advantage of in sort of delegating some of the responsibility to them? So I think it might be seem like a lot of work, and but it also, like I said, might be something that the school is already doing, and this isn't meant to create more work. It's meant to make the process easier. So that would be my answer to that. Okay, Jennifer, what kind of snacks? Some of our kids have allergies. Good question. I mean, in my experience in facilitating, helping to facilitate those signature play days, we typically offer a fruit option, apples or bananas. And we provide some kind of dairy option, as well as a granola bar. There are nut-free options, and are, in our experience, by providing those three, gives people choice and makes it inclusive. It might be an opportunity too to engage, some type of local grocery store, for instance, that might be willing to make a donation. I know that resources can be quite challenging to secure, so just looking maybe that they want to create some kind of partnership, sort of social responsibility, to sort of make that feasible. So that would be my suggestion around that. Okay, just give me I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes for questions, and then I'll be putting in that final survey link into the chat box so that we can hear about your experiences. Okay, it looks like we are out of questions, so I'm just going to grab the survey link. Thanks for bearing with me. All right, so feel free to access that survey link and submit us your feedback when it comes to the experience in this webinar and also how you found the Playday resources. I'd love to contact you after the fact and see how we can enhance this opportunity and the Playday resources in general. And thank you so much for joining this webinar. I hope that the information is helpful to you, and have a great evening. Thank you so much.